Hey, I wanted to do a quick pack teardown. This is the Everly stock F1 mainframe with the F2 transformer. But I always appreciate seeing what other guys are prioritizing to carry into the woods. And I also thought some other guys would like to see how all the gear stacks up in it. And this pack is ready to go right now for probably 3 nights in the woods. But first things first, let's see what it weighs. Yeah, stick it on my trusty scale here. If it ever stops swinging, comes in at 35 pounds, 6 ounces. So I've used this pack for the past couple seasons, and I really like the way the whole system works together. This is actually something that's designed as a pack topper by Everly stock, but I like the size, the volume that room that you've got to carry items and gear, and I've also liked the fact that it can convert into a fanny pack. So the whole idea is, one, that I'm moving weight to the front of the pack to kind of counter the stuff that I've got in the back, and it improves my center of gravity so I'm walking more efficiently through the woods. But two, I can drop this, which has got most of my creature comforts in it, I would call them that, and keep my fire starting essentials with me, and lights and knives and stuff like that, so that, you know, if I get separated from this, it's not the end of the world, and I can still make do with just what I've got in this. So opening it up, taking a look inside, I got 16 ounces of water. I've got a GPS radio, which is nice for if you're hunting with a group, but I'm finding I'm using my cell phone more and more and more. The mapping software that's available for those is just awesome. So I got food. This should be full, or at least half full, so better leave my pack a little bit better. But I've got, you know, a couple granola bars, peanut butter cup. Like I say, this isn't for carrying the majority of my food or gear. It's just enough to, if I get separated for a couple hours from that one, I'll be all right, or overnight. My primary headlamp with the red lens. I've got knife, saw, and then I've got in this little kit here, I've got paracord, you know, 550 cord, trail marking tape, a backup headlamp, fire starting materials, lighters, extra batteries. I've also got a personal location beacon, so if something goes disastrously wrong, you can pull that as a last resort. And that pretty much covers it. You know, lens pen for cleaning my binoculars. That's pretty much it for this pouch. There's a front compartment on this here that I've got a compass in it, and my tags and license go in it, and then this is just an earbud to go with the GPS, and a couple goo packets, so if I run out of energy, just totally bonk somewhere, I can suck on one of those and it'll get me up to the top of the hill. But there's a compartment on the side here that I think is designed to be used for water or hydration system, because there's a hole for a hose to stick through somewhere on here. But I use it I'll stuff my revolver in here. If I drop the pack, pull my sidearm off of my hip belt, I'll put it inside of here and carry it with me. That pretty much covers this pouch. Get it out of the way. Moving on to the main pack. I like to carry my water in the top compartment up here, and I like the Sawyer filtration system and the Sawyer pouches. I've used the MSR dromedary bags, and they're fantastic. They're really heavy duty, but these I think do a little bit better job of, for me at least, tracking the water, or how much water I've consumed, how much water I have left. So I carry two 32 ounces, and they fit in the top here really nice. I put them in the top because getting that weight up high above your shoulders, or right around shoulder height, the higher you can get it, the more it puts that weight towards the front of you, which is a lot easier to carry. You get it down low in your pack, and it's going to be pushing your hips forward and making it hard to walk because you're struggling to fight forward. That's part of the logic behind this pouch that goes on the front. but the way you pack your pack is also going to increase your efficiency. So heavier things up on the top is a good thing to a certain extent. So water, and then filtration system. I've used the MSR ceramic pump filter for years, but these are cheap. They're super easy. They're a fraction of the weight and a fraction of the volume in your pack. It's like a no-brainer to me. But that covers water. That is not enough water for me to go for 3 days, but I will find a water source someplace. So, starting off with food on the top here, I'm not going to carry this whole bag of dried apricots with me, or the yogurt pretzels. I usually put this into a little Ziploc bag and carry it around, a serving, a couple servings, half this thing, or a quarter of it. And then the next layer below that is my puffy. Always take the puffy with me. It keeps the edge off in the morning. If you want to sit for a while, you can slip this on underneath whatever layer is your outer shell layer, and it's super light, compresses down to nothing. You can't, down is just amazing stuff. Also I'll sleep in this. If it's a cold night and my sleeping bag isn't cutting it, then I'll put this thing on and sleep in it. It's just as comfy as wearing a sleeping bag, basically. So moving on to the cook kit. It's nothing fancy. Jet bowl is great, but I've got a cup and a spoon. I like the Mountain House freeze-dried meals, so that's all I'm doing is heating up water with this fuel cell and a pocket rocket, and I wrap it in a handkerchief because then it's not going to make a lot of noise tinging around inside of this cup, and then I can use that handkerchief for all kinds of different things. It can be a tourniquet, it can be for cleanup, you can strap something to the side of the pack. I get enough paracord, but anything in this system that can do more than one thing is a lot more likely to get me to pack it into the woods. So continuing with the food, I got a bag of nuts. Nothing complicated. I don't like the peanuts, so I get the deluxe mix, and then I mix in some M&Ms. Those are dark chocolate M&Ms. And then protein is the hardest thing to carry in the woods. So it's as far as food goes. So I just got protein bars and peanut butter cups. I love to take the mint chocolate chip protein bar and dip it in the peanut butter cup. Nice little treat. I got some almond butter pouches in here as well. But I'll have one of these for breakfast and another one during the day. Mixing in the nuts all throughout the day and everything else. And the one thing I'm missing out of here that shouldn't add a whole lot of weight to the pack is coffee. I'll take the Starbucks Via or some kind of pre-ground, freeze-dried coffee and mix it in the mornings. Usually don't have time to do it first thing in the morning, but after 10 o'clock or something like that, or 9 o'clock or whatever, just have a nice cup of coffee. I also carry a little bit of tea, so if my stomach is disgruntled from all the salt I'm throwing into it, I can have a little something to help it out. Mint or orange, or there's all kinds of different teas you can use to help your stomach out, but they're nice to have just in the evening. How about does it for food? Tools I like to carry. I got this little pouch here with the little light on it, but paracord. I think everybody carries paracord. You need it. It's pretty handy stuff. I've also got a set of Allen wrenches. This is for archery season, so if something goes wrong with my bow, I don't have to walk out of the woods to replace part of the sight that broke off or whatever. I got a chance to put it back together and save myself some time and energy. But I got a little Gerber multi-tool. There's a million different options for these, but it's just kind of handy to have those. Some cloth tape, camouflage, and then some duct tape for the real emergencies. I also got some extra lighters, sharpening tools, that kind of stuff. This is my utility tool bag. Then this is my first aid kit, which is really simple. I've got some bandages. There's another handkerchief, earplugs. Believe it or not, sometimes the elk are bugling so much. It's nice to have earplugs after a couple of days of not getting any sleep, a couple of nights not getting any sleep. Throw those in for at least a couple hours. Then quick clot. You know, there's a debates back and forth whether that actually is good or bad for you. I'm not going to get into that. I have, as I showed in the other pouch there, I've got a personal locator beacon, so if I ever get in a really bad spot, I've got it. But and don't mistake my comments there for you shouldn't be prepared to take care of your own butt at any given moment, or your group's own butt. But you know, if that is a tool that's available to me and somebody's going to die if I don't get their butt out of the woods, I'm pulling that string. So it's that simple. And then, so next, red for first aid, green for go. This is toilet paper, field wipes, hand sanitizer. This is the stuff that keeps me all fresh and lively. So moving on to the sleeping, I've got a Sea to Summit. This is a super light air mattress, inflatable air mattress. It's just small. It compresses very well. Doesn't take up a lot of volume in my pack. And for the most part during archery season, I'm not dealing with really cold weather. This is colder than I've got a Pro Light 4 that I've slept on. And this is definitely cooler than that. But with all the down and everything else, you can usually make it through the night quite comfortably. So everything's coming down in layers here. And the next layer in this giant Ziploc bag is extra clothing. And so this is a simple jumbo 2.5 gallon hefty Ziploc bag that I've used for years. And I've got an extra shirt. This is a synthetic outer layer. I'll be wearing one, but this is one I'll change into in a day or two if the other one starts getting funky. And I've got a pair of merino wool socks, merino wool underwear. This is just the 3/4 length pants, and then an extra pair of merino wool briefs. And depending on how cold it is, I'll have a merino layer top that goes in here too. But that's enough for me to be able to rotate out and keep everything reasonably fresh. You know, you're going to be packing around getting hot and sweaty and dirty for 3 days, and it might be 100 degrees out in the sun, so you're not going to smell like a princess. But you can move your clean clothes onto you and your dirty clothes into this, and this bag will contain whatever was on the other stuff pretty well, and it'll also keep those fresh as you move them in or onto you. So this Ziploc bag, plastic bag, is serving a couple purposes. It's containing the clothes, keeping everything orderly, keeping it fresh, but it's also protecting the next layer because I'm going to set it on top and I'm going to kind of wrap it around the front of the pack here so that what's underneath it, should water come down, is going to shed off and not bother the next layer so much, which is my sleeping bag. So the down bag, down is fantastic. It's just the best material for compressibility, for warmth. It's just comfortable. It's great stuff. So it's worth its money. This is an REI bag. This is the sub kilo. It's a 20-degree bag. Like I said earlier, archery season in Oregon. We get snow, but it doesn't usually get bitter cold. So 20-degree bag for me with a puffy and merino underwear, I can get through most any of it pretty comfortably. So below the sleeping bag, we got freeze-dried meals. I'll carry a freeze-dried meal for every night, and plus an extra one, because I never want to turn around to come back out of the woods just for food. And I always want to plan on having some reason to stay an extra day. And so I'll have the full-size meals for dinners, and then they've got the half-size, I think they're serving and a half or whatever they call them, that are vacuum-sealed Pro Packs that I'll take for lunch. Because it's just nice to look forward to one of those nice warm meals for lunch. You get tired of chewing on nuts and stuff. But moving on to shelter, I used to have an REI quarter dome, which is great freestanding tent. And then the last couple of years I've used the Eureka Solitaire, which it's actually very impressive. It's an $80 tent, for crying out loud. And it does great as far as getting, you know, a nice compact system that stays reasonably light. And we're talking right around 2 pounds. So, but it's just a little too cramped if you're going to have any kind of weather in the area. And last year I got caught 5 or 6 days, and it was raining pretty solid the whole time. And it just never there's not a vestibule on that, so there's not enough room to spread out your gear and dry it out if you're trying to catch up there. It just kind of, it's tight quarters, I'll just say it that way. So what I'm going to try is this year, this is bug bivy. I've used it for years when I know it's going to be dry. It's basically just a waterproof bathtub floor with a mesh net that goes over it. It's one simple hoop over your face to keep the net off your face. But other than that, it's like a little bivy sack that's made out of mesh on top. And all it's going to do is keep the bugs off my face, because for some reason, mosquitoes, spiders, whatever, they find a way to get to my face while I'm sleeping. And then this thing is, I forget what it weighs, but it's like 8 pounds. And then this tarp here is made by Slumberjack. It's 10 feet by 9 feet, and there's a lot of really nice stuff out there, ultralight stuff, fantastic, but it gets really expensive really quick. And tarps have a good way of flying away in the middle of the night if you get caught in the right storm. So I didn't want to spend that much money on something that was going to get shredded, and we're going to give this one a shot. But it's under 2 pounds anyways, so my whole sleep shelter system's under 3 pounds. And if it's going to be dry for 3 days, I'll leave this back at camp. And I've got another part to this system which could keep me out of trouble if I was in a squall, but I primarily use it as a ground mat, which is actually going to help you if you got the non-insulated air mattress. This is a space blanket on one side, and then it's kind of just a little bit, it's like a space blanket on steroids. So this is my ground mat that I can use as an emergency tarp if I get caught in some kind of rain. But like I said earlier, anything that can serve multiple purposes is a lot more likely to make it into my pack. So I don't want to pack anything around that doesn't do a couple things pretty well, or something really, really well. So that covers food, shelter, clothing, water, all the real essentials here. Looking at the hip belt here, you got rangefinder. There's some calls in this pouch here, and then I'll carry my sidearm right on my hip belt, so it's easy to get to. But that's about it for this pack. I try to keep everything real simple. You know, it's easy to get carried away with all the gear that's available, but the bottom line is that men has been chasing animals in loincloths with sticks for centuries. And so, you know, keep it under control. It's easy to get swept away with buying the latest, greatest everything. It's fun if you got the resources for it, but don't let it overtake the real part behind hunting, which is getting out there and seeing animals and practicing skills. And it's just awesome to be out there. So that's it. Hopefully somebody got something out of it. And I'm sure I'll hear comments and questions down below. Thanks.